Hello, and welcome to another fully live Q&A episode of Hacking with Friends. My name is Kody Kinzie. I am a security researcher at Varonis, and today I am going to answer your hacking-related questions, especially if they relate back to the Defcon and Black Hat hacker conferences. Now, I just got back from these conferences after spending a blisteringly hot week in Las Vegas, and I'm excited to talk about some of the things I saw there. Including Black Hat. There were some cool things at Black Hat too, but of course the spotlight is going to be on Defcon because that's where all the really cool stuff happens. But let's go ahead and start out with Black Hat and talk about a couple of the things that happened there. And also, hello everyone. I see we've already got some questions about uncensored AI running locally. So yeah, we'll get to that in just a little bit. Volume high today. Okay, good. Yeah, so I'm back in the studio. On the previous two streams, I was running off of my earbuds. So definitely a little bit of an improvement with like a better mic setup. But yeah, hello everyone. Good to see you. Good to see you, James. Also saw that video that you dropped in the Discord server, James. We're going to be talking about that in just a little bit as well. So you can see I have a new cool shirt. I also have a new cool hat. So one of these I got at Defcon, the other I got at Black Hat. Let's go ahead and check out the first one, which is the Varonis Threat Labs one. So this actually looks so much like a goon shirt that I almost got in trouble, like trying to go to my goon shift at Defcon while wearing it. But it is, in fact, the new Varonis Threat Lab shirt. They had a bunch of our cool security researchers running around both Black Hat and Defcon. So I got to hang out with some of them and see exactly what they were presenting. Now, over at the Varonis booth, we had this. This was our Capture the Flag challenge. And what was kind of cool about it is that it is mostly focused on Salesforce. So, and answering your question in the audience, this is, if you've got an IT question, I can give it a shot. I'm not the best IT kind of guy, but I did fail like a routing and switching class. So I feel prepared to answer just about anything, even if it's with, I don't know. All right, so let's talk about the Varonis CTF and what that was. So this was something that Varonis did at their table, and it allowed people to see some of the research that our team has done into Salesforce. So lots and lots of companies use Salesforce, and frequently they mess it up. They don't configure things properly. There's add-ons. There's like all this stuff that goes into Salesforce. It's like a really complicated product. And as a result, like frequently these big businesses will do things and expose things that they don't mean to. So in this example, we have a support form that accidentally exposes internal data. And the way that we can get into this is by basically using something like Burp Suite or OWASP Zap to play around with the responses and see if we can get something interesting and abuse a feature hidden within Salesforce. So do you guys want to do this with me? I kind of want to show off like how this works because it's not that hard. So let's go ahead and show off what it looks like. So I'm going to click on Start Challenge. We'll see. Hopefully this is still up. This should be like a customer support portal. Okay, yep, we have a customer support portal, and then we can submit like a description of like an event or whatever, or something like that. So according to the CTF, we are going to capture a post request, and then we are going to take a look for one that has this string in it. So let's go ahead and do this. Do you guys want to do the CTF with me? Nobody's saying yes or no, so I'm going to do it. You have no choice. All right, so let's go. I'm going to switch over to OWASP Zap. I'm going to drag it up here. And this is OWASP Zap. So the researchers were using Burp Suite, and Burp Suite is fine. It's cool, but it's not free. And they won't give me a version for evaluation that is free. And that irritates me beyond belief. It's really quite annoying. So as a result, we're going to be using OWASP Zap because it is free. And while the documentation is maybe not the easiest to find sometimes, it still is a great tool. So let's go ahead and use this. So we're going to do Manual Explorer, and then it's going to ask us what URL we want to explore. So we're going to use this support portal. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop up a browser that is puppeteered by OWASP Zap. So everything that is going through this browser is actually going to be sent through OWASP Zap first so that we can see all of the requests. And we can see there's a bunch of stuff happening now as this opens up. And these are all GET requests. So we're more looking for a POST request, but we can see this is slowly opening. And this is our intercepted or proxied browser session. So if this loads properly, what I'm going to do is type in some sort of support issue, and then I'm going to hit post and hit submit and see if I can create that post request. So subject, my Roomba is trying to kill me. Description: I gave my Roomba a knife. Now it is chasing me. Email: hello at yes. No. Okay, we're going to create our case, complaining about the Roomba. And this would be like the way that any big company would, be offering a service portal for issues, or something like that. And our goal here is, as an attacker, is to find out whether or not we can get in and read other people's issues and other internal data. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to look, okay, we can see there's this post request. When I pop it up, we are going to look for, well, actually, I guess I can just expand this. Yeah, okay, so we're looking for the SF site / Aura. Let's see what we're supposed to be looking for in this other Firefox that is not puppeteered. I'm gonna go back here. Customer support / F / Aura, is that what we got here? Customer support site / okay, so this looks like it's correct. So this is what we want to do here. I'm going to right mouse click and click open / resend with request editor. And of course, it's open in a new window. So I'm going to drag it over here. All right, so this is our request editor. This allows us to change parts of this web request and send them again, and then kind of see what happens. So we're going to take this message equals part, and we're going to delete it. We're just going to get rid of everything all the way up to and Aura context. And we're going to replace this with our own payload. Now, this payload is basically just figuring out how to use the internal Salesforce tools that are available. But it's messed up slightly because of the text editor or the text presenter that we're using here. So we're going to have to fix this. So this is the payload. We're going to paste this in. And then I'm going to have to find any extra spaces that ended up here, because that makes the JSON not valid. So we got one right here. And I know there's another one. Where are you hiding? There, calling descriptor. Okay, so I've now fixed this JavaScript, which would have broken this, by the way. I'm going to hit send, and then we should see a response. Okay, we've got a success. That means that I fixed the JavaScript. So we now can see basically a list of all the different parameters that we have access to. So as we go through, we can see user list preface, geolocate, field-based pack, entity definition. So if we go over to the CTF again, we can see that we're looking for a descriptor called case comment. So let's go ahead and see if we can find that. Looks like we have a hit. Where is it though? Find. All right, well, we have a hit. It's in here somewhere. CMS, talking. Oh, there we go. Case comment. So this is the descriptor that we're looking for to exploit in the next step. So if you're following along so far, we have intercepted a request, we've modified it, and now we've identified something we're interested in. So the final step is going to be, we're going to use this JSON to basically get information under that descriptor. So I'm going to go back to the request. I'm going to take all the stuff I wrote before. I'm going to get rid of it again. And now there's two things we got to do. First, I need to go through and change the object name to the correct one. So I'm going to go here, and I very much like copying and pasting. So I'm going to do case comment. All right. Now, these should all be on the same line. Don't know why they're not. So we're going to go through and get rid of everything that's not on the same line. Just a little bit of cleanup to make this JSON valid. Okay. And then I think I might need to make sure that there's no spaces here as well. I feel that coming on. And again, this is like, I think like a consequence of like the way that the text displayer on the website works. I'm going to look. Ah, yes, here we have a space. Get out of there. Anything else? I think that's good. All right, so this is the final step in the CTF. I'm going to go ahead and send this. and cross my fingers. That was kind of a lot of steps. And we've got success. Okay, so I'm going to search. Oops, I'm going to search this response for CTF. Let's see if we can find our flag. We've got a hit for CTF. Where is it? Dear CTF. And here is the flag. So, all right, I just got the first flag in the Verona Salesforce CTF. That was not that hard. And the rest of the CTF gets a little bit harder. So yes, that is something that you can check out if you're interested in the way that Salesforce hacking works. It's becoming a lot more popular, and in particular, Varonis is dedicating a lot of resources to Salesforce hacking and like learning about how it works and making sure that we can be on the cutting edge with it. So yeah, in this case, I was able to get access to comments about someone's smart door system. And this is access to the company's internal comments on support issues. It seems as though this company's products are trying to kill the people that have installed them. So interesting to see the issues internally this company may be having, which were exposed via a Salesforce misconfiguration. So, all right, that was the Salesforce CTF. Again, this is something that I just I learned how to do this while I was there. A couple different people managed to get this, and it came out really cool. It came out really, really cool. So, oh, look at this. We've got a question from the audience. Hello, sir. How was the Defcon? So yes, this is from Michael. Michael was with us the entire Defcon. So hi, Michael. Nice to see you. Defcon was awesome. So okay, that pretty much wraps up Black Hat. That's what I was doing there. And then at Defcon, I was working with Michael as a press goon. I can't find my badge. I don't know why. Michael, if you have it, please let me know. Anyway, yeah, so as a goon, first of all, what is a goon? Well, a goon is a person who is volunteering their time to work at DEF CON. They are somebody who is in charge of the conference, and there's a lot of legends around goons, you know, like they all have a secret network that they all can access to get information. Like they have all this info about the con, and legitimately some of them have been working for a long time at the conference and have lots of internal knowledge. Other times it kind of reminds me of my first security job where, you know, you're given a flashlight, given a uniform, and you're told to get in there and figure it out. And you basically only get talked to when you do something wrong. If you're doing things right, then people just give you a thumbs up and you just keep on doing it, kind of come up with your own system. That's kind of seems to be the way the DEF CON is. So we were also splitting that with a new responsibility, making a DEF CON badge. So badge life at DEF CON is a long-standing tradition where people will come together to make a hardware badge that allows people to play a game, learn something, come together. And generally the goal tends to be to try to get people to, you know, experience the conference through interacting with other people. It's kind of like performance art almost. So this year, my team got together and made a badge that we called Nugget Quest. And Nugget Quest was something that we wanted to kind of base off of laser tag, perhaps laser quest, if you will. And make it so that people would have an excuse to interact with each other and also have something useful for after the conference. So frequently you get these badges, they work once. And I mean, like, I will say, who doesn't love a good plumbus? I mean, you know, you got these big old plumbus badges around. This one has a fully articulating dongle. So that's nice. It rotates all the way around as you would expect. And then when you switch it on, it has a variety of useful, I would say even critical features that you can use it for. So always wonderful to have a plumbus on hand. I know there's a lot of times you're looking for one, and you can't find one. Now you got one. So yeah, electronic badges. They are a big thing at the conference. They're something that people are often looking for, and they are something that we didn't get at DEF CON this year because the people who did the conference had a little oopsie. They made it so all the badges were actually either paper or plastic. So, sorry, I just want to get to this in the correct mode. That's Simon. There we go. Just wanted to demonstrate some of the electronic badges at DEF CON and the advantages of being there this year. And it is doing, yeah. I don't know if you can hear this. Yeah, so this is one of my favorite badges this year. We traded one of our badges for one of these badges. I think they custom molded these in silicone as well. So a very interesting electronic badge this year. Another really great badge this year was the FurCon badge. So this one is extremely blinky. They went with the 3 AAA battery, AA battery route, which we also considered doing, and ended up not doing because it was just very thick, and we got lucky making LiPo versions. But yeah, this was one of the examples. I don't even know how to work this badge, actually. There's so many different... Oh, user 2, user 1. But yeah, so these are some examples of communities that have come together and created badges in order to make the conference more fun. And because Defcon wasn't doing their own badges this year, it made sense that anybody making a badge was probably going to see more interest than usual. So our badge this year was Nugget Quest. So our entry was essentially like a number of extra LEDs on the tail, and then an infrared blaster and an infrared receiver. And my good friend Christian did the art on this, which is so cute, and I think was the #1 reason why people were picking it up. This ended up being a lot of fun, and we ended up, I think we had maybe like 140 or so like sell out at the booth that we were working at. So between being a goon and then also having these incredibly cute badges, it was awesome to see these out and about. So I want to talk a little bit about what it's like to make a badge, and then I promise I will get to your questions, including ones that are not planted by Michael, which, by the way, thank you very much, Michael. Let's talk about what it was like to make this badge and what kind of time frame we had to make it on. So what's actually really cool also is in this video, I didn't realize it at first, my phone can pick up the infrared. So you can see actually, you can see actually the face that it makes when it's shooting, but you can't see the crying face it makes when it gets shot. You can't see its power-up faces and a couple of other pieces of art that are, just for those people playing the game. So if you want to play along, you can join our Discord community, which is where I have dropped the files for now. Eventually, they will be added to the nugget.dev website. But if you're already in our Discord community, you can check out, I've made the announcement in a couple different channels that we are dropping the firmware binary for this particular project. It came out so cute. Ooh, it came out so cute. Okay. All right. So what is it like to make this? Oh, and also I got to take out my shirt that I only wear 1 time per year. It was great. It was really good seeing all of you. I also really appreciate, it was kind of I was kind of iffy on like coming out. Sometimes when I'm having so much contact face to face with people, everybody was super respectful of me wearing a mask. No, literally the only person that hazed me for it was someone that I know, it was their first time at the conference. He was like, "What is there? Something wrong with you?" But everybody else was super cool. I hope to continue to not have COVID, and it was honestly super great to meet everybody who came up to the booth and told me they liked Nullbyte. It was also amazing to me that even wearing a mask, like people continued to recognize me, which tells me that everybody that talked to me probably saw more than one of my videos. So super cool. I really appreciate everybody. And okay, we'll talk about this in a minute, but let's go ahead and talk about the process of making this badge. So this process started a little more than 3 months ago. And originally this was an idea for a game that was based on a previous game I'd worked on. So I worked on a very low budget version of this game called Mystery Hack, which had a badge based on Bill Cipher that was an interactive laser tag game. And it worked pretty well. And the price was super low on it. And the team was really small. So it was like, okay, if this is something that has been successful before, then as an add-on, this is both useful in the future where you can do IR blaster stuff. And it's also useful at the con where, I've already seen this work. And now that we have Flipper Zero, we're going to have to upgrade some parts of it. But, otherwise, this could be a really fun adapted game. So I whipped up a prototype. And after perf boarding it, I sent this prototype off to the team to take a look at it and start developing some testing code. After a little bit, I was also using Flipper Zero to test this out and make sure it was working. We started doing concept art. So this is some of the different designs that almost made the cut. This one was determined to be too big and too sharp, although it was really cute and we really considered it. This one was decided that maybe we shouldn't do it. It had like an owner's collar, and then the receiver and the transmitter were located differently. And this was finally decided on as the one that we should go with. It was cute, it was small, and even though this one's quite small compared to our other designs, it still seems really big, like actually looking at it, it looks like a big design. So I'm glad that we ended up going with the one that was a very small footprint, because this one would have been huge. So after a while, I reached out to some PCB suppliers, and every single one of them told me it is too close to the conference. Like, we don't have time. We can't help you. You guys are on your own. So we decided we were going to do it ourselves. I got the team together and I was like, listen, we can still do this, but we're going to have to do some soldering. So they're like, all right, let's do it. Let's make this happen. So our first prototype came in and it needed to be soldered completely by hand. We were pretty paranoid about the way that power was going to work. So if you look at this design, it's actually a 2-in-1. If you solder in a diode here, then you can have 3 AA batteries, the same way that the Furcon badge here does, which is a really safe thing to do. It makes the badge really thick and kind of heavy, but it provides reliable power. It's easy to just replace the batteries, and the circuit is extremely simple. We decided to gamble a little bit and decided we wanted to try a LiPo battery. So this unpopulated circuit in our first prototype was actually a LiPo battery charging circuit that allowed us to plug in a LiPo battery and charge it from the badge. All right, so we got our first prototype in. I soldered it together and it seemed to work. The testing with the flipper showed that I could capture a remote signal and then I could rebroadcast it. So here's the demo. I was sending the signal here to turn off the TV, putting it on a delay, turning it around, and it would retransmit the signal and turn on the TV. There we go. All right, so it works. So at that point, I proved that the first prototype worked. And by the way, this worked the first time because of a collaborative effort between Aria and Angelina. These two hardware developers did an incredible job of putting this together and worked with me very closely, as well as with our artist Christian, to make a really cute design. So we decided to gamble a month from the conference. We ordered these JLC PCB assembled boards that were all the way assembled, except they didn't have the blaster or the receiver. So that meant that we were going to get 200 of these things, and we would have to solder all 200 of them several pins. So this is the difference between the AA version and the LiPo version when it finally came in. The LiPo version, the final conference version, was purple and much thinner, I would say, and also rechargeable, whereas the AAA version was a lot thicker and heavier, reliable perhaps, but overall not as elegant. So the other thing here was it's actually incredibly difficult to source the single AA battery cells that are supposed to be soldered in here. They were easy when they were being designed, and then they became very difficult to source. So finding battery holders to put like in these holes here and solder into place was actually one of our biggest challenges. And we had to look at some other less desirable possibilities, like slapping a really ugly thick battery pack on the back here and soldering in here and here on the PCB. So there were a lot of questions about how we were going to do power. And we basically decided to float it up until the last minute and make it so we could have done either one. So we placed our bets, we ordered 200 of these, and then they came in and we had to go to Los Angeles to Null Space Labs, which you see here, and solder like crazy. So we also had to assemble, we had to package, we had to flash. There was lots of stuff going on, and we had everybody helping out. Basically everybody that I know in Los Angeles came by to help solder these things. This was our first Nugget night, where you can see there's plenty of pizza. And we had a second one as well that was mostly soldering, where even more people came by. So this was a pretty wild time. I honestly didn't think we were going to finish it. We actually got this done mostly because of our friend Irish, who contributed significantly to making sure everything got soldered. And then finally, 1 week before Defcon, the pixel art for the game was finished. At the conference, we were testing it out in the hotel room, and then at the actual table, everybody was wearing one, and we had lots of them up on display, people asking about them, and seeing them out and about at the con and watching people actually like wearing these things was really incredible. Getting to see people like enjoying them and showing them off and playing the game. We only had a couple of complaints, and that was mostly because we didn't get a chance to charge these batteries beforehand. But if you just plug them into USB Type-C, they would charge right up. So it didn't seem to be any significant issue. So there's lots of things that could have gone wrong, you guys. This was not a professional timetable. Like if we were smarter, we would have started this 4 to 6 months prior to DEFCON, not 3 months before. So I highly do not recommend doing this. In total, oh, and then also we ran around and put these stickers around the conference to let people do power-ups and otherwise upgrade their badges during the conference. So 12 people contributed their time to this project in order to make it happen. We made 200 badges for the conference, and while it was a big success, it was also incredibly hard. And we paid a pretty high price on some of our components because we waited till the last minute to order them. So if you're going to be doing this, I highly recommend working with a bunch of people with a diverse range of specialties. Some of the reasons why we were able to do this is we had people with incredible amounts of experience like Arya who were able to stop problems before they got really bad, and allowed us to turn this initial concept drawing into this finished design within just a couple of weeks. So yeah, I was shocked that we were able to go from like an initial like perf board to a prototype to something that was actually ready for the conference in such a short period of time. And I have to say my team did an amazing job and I'm super proud of them. So if you were one of the people that came by and grabbed one of these, then thank you so much for supporting us. We're going to do this even bigger and better next year. And it was a lot of fun getting to work with everybody on this project. Okay, so now let me take some questions. I'm going to scroll through the chat real quick. Sorry, that was a lot about Defcon, but working on this project, I really enjoyed getting to make a rapid prototype and do something so quickly. And thank you. I really enjoyed it. So on this version, so next version, get a QR reader. That would be interesting. So the ESP32S2 does support cameras pretty readily. It has a single core. So there are some things that become a little bit trickier, like as you pile more and more on this little microcontroller, but being able to do basic like QR code recognition would be nice because it can actually generate QR codes. And that's the way we were displaying the information for the game. We bought the domain nugget.quest. And then we were redirecting to it with a QR code that was displayed on the screen, which was honestly pretty cool. Like being able to get that up and running so people could just scan it and go was great. Also, hello, good to see you. Glad you made it to the stream. You're early, I think. Let's see. All right, so another question. Doesn't that also have the friend detector on it? How do you get one? So these were exclusive for the conference. So we do have, I think, like maybe 20 left or so. I'll probably put the remainder of them up for sale on the website. You can get to at nugget.dev. That's DEV. There you'll find all of our tools if you just picked one up. And we also released a new quick start video featuring the famous Michael. So if you are a new Nugget enjoyer, there is now a quick start guide for getting started with it if you picked one up at the conference. I'm disappointed the mask wasn't customized in some way. Yeah, I know, but at the same time, like it was kind of like, you know, I'm not like a huge extrovert, and when I'm talking to so many people in a day and I just want to go to the bathroom, like sometimes it's nice to blend into the crowd. That being said, I didn't see a single other person in the entire conference of like 30 something thousand people that was wearing like that. That was wearing that exact color of mask, which I was very proud of. So yeah, I think it's funny. I honestly think it's great to be able to have people like recognize me from a distance, but also still be just regular enough that you know, like I can still get away with being anonymous sometimes. So okay, let's talk about this. This is a pretty succinct description of what happened on Saturday night. There was an evacuation of Caesar's Forums, and oh my god. And it seemed as though there was like a bomb scare. Information is still kind of going around. I've read different reports from different people, and they're pretty vague. I'm not totally sure exactly what happened. Some people were saying that a bag from the Defcon shoot with gunpowder residue caused the issue. Other people were saying that there was actually like a threat phoned in or communicated. But either way, the shutdown prevented a lot of the parties that were going to be going on Saturday night from happening. And the funniest thing is I was learning about most of this information because I noticed a lot of people in the hallways sitting on like radios. And it turns out that the hotel security had unencrypted radio. So they were getting all of their updates directly over the radio from the hotel security staff that was coordinating with the police that were sweeping the building. So because it was just encoded and not encrypted, everybody was getting real-time updates, not from the Defcon staff, but actually from the hotel security staff themselves. Which is funny because towards the end, a lot of the conference people were a lot friendlier with the hotel security SRT. Earlier, prior to the incident, the hotel special response team members who were walking around in kind of like brown tactical gear were earning the nickname the Gravy Seals instead of Navy Seals, because they're kind of gray and they were a little, you know, they work for the hotel. But they did a really good job, and they cleared things out, and the conference was able to continue on the second day. So if you did hear about this, it was a pretty big deal. People were concerned. Hackers were listening in on all the security conversations and trying to figure out what was happening. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm not exactly totally sure what happened here. Still kind of listening for like a final like wraparound, but yeah, very interesting. I also I wasn't able to see what time it was most of the time I was at the conference, because it was full open season on Googly Eyes, and sometimes you got to be fast. So I was using my watch to queue up like already ready to stick Googly Eyes, and as a result, I was running late for everything. So difficult trade-offs at the conference in order to stay open to new opportunities to Google stuff. And again, I do also have to shout out Angelina and Arya. Our other design, the Meow Mixer, sold out super quickly. I thought people were going to want like just hacking tools, but we made this originally for a 1 week long hacking cyber camp in Montana. And sorry, I'll get your question in 1 second. It ended up being so popular with the kids, we decided to bring like 150 or so to Defcon just to see if people like them, and they sold out incredibly quickly. So we're going to bring these back, and I'll probably end up having them for sale in the store at some point, just because they're super cute. People enjoyed making them, and everybody who came back and showed us their fully soldered together Meow Mixer board was super proud of it and seemed to really enjoy the entire process. So even though I think that the eyes are very close together and kind of make the pins there a little bit tricky to solder, most people were able to do it. So yeah, I was just really proud of our team for making something so damn cute and also really great for beginners. This was another awesome thing we got to do at the conference. Let's see. All right, one question was, how did you hear unencrypted radio? So a lot of the people at the conference had radios that were tunable to the frequencies that the hotel security was using. And they were able to just basically decode the stream because it was not encrypted, it was just encoded. So that means if you're listening to this on like a software-defined radio, it would just sound like a bunch of noise. But if you have a digital decoder and it's able to decode that particular digital encoding, then it's relatively easy to listen in on radio, unless it's encrypted radio. And encrypted radios are more expensive. But as someone points out immediately after, apparently, even if it was encrypted radio, you would have been able to listen to it as well because of Tetra. So there was this great talk that I missed at Black Hat called "All Cops Are Broadcasting," that went into the Tetra vulnerability, how to exploit it, and exactly what it was. I'm going to have to watch that on repeat because this was a very interesting vulnerability. It seems like that with not that much hardware, people were actually able to access information that should have been encrypted and listen in on encrypted radio. So super, super interesting and something that I want to check out a little bit more. But yeah, people who just were able to tune in on that frequency and then had the right modulation were able to decode it. And everybody was just gathering around the radio, running up to the windows and the stairwells and like watching down for like the emergency vehicles to come in and stuff and trying to figure out if the conference was going to be closed the next day. Whew. Let's see. All right, so here's a question from the audience. Kind of a weird one. I wrote a WPA adaptation of the evil portal portals on the Pineapple, which attempts a live WPA cracking. Would posting that code on GitHub be illegal? No, it wouldn't be illegal. If people are using it to commit crimes and you make it really, really easy for them to do so, then that might eventually become a problem for you. But if you're just like posting proof of concept code or something like that, that generally isn't a problem. Most of the time. I want to qualify that a little bit, but it all depends. Like, because my reference would be, it sounds like you're talking about something like B-side NG. B-side NG, you don't give it any arguments, just attacks everything around it and does deauthentication attacks and like all the stuff that would get you in trouble. So like just writing proof of concept code, like provided that it's not like an open and shut way of like committing like a crime and it just runs out of, it really does. Like if you make it a little bit so that you have to confirm what you want to do or that you're only targeting a specific thing, like that's great. Like for example, B-side NG, with the proper flags will only attack a network you gave it permission to. So that means it can be controlled, and it's really only if you're like running it irresponsibly that you can do bad things with it. If there's a safe, legal, ethical way for you to run your code that's allowed, then generally posting the proof of concept should be fine. If there's no safe, legal, or ethical way of running the code, then maybe reconsider. Like if there's no way to prevent it from, attacking things that are out of scope, that might be a problem. Let's see. There's a lot of questions. I saw a Flipper Zero for $100. Should I get one? Don't trust it, yo. Don't trust it. If you see a Flipper for less money than the manufacturer is selling it, that is, please be careful. I generally don't trust seeing something that is supposed to be like almost $100 more than that. Go for that price. I would be very, very, very careful. All right. More questions. Oh, and then some other things at Defcon as well. Let me go back to this. I believe there were some other things I didn't mention. So this was an interesting conference also because there were some exploits being done. So I haven't totally gone through everything yet. Where is it? I think it's further down. I haven't gone through everything around this, and I will talk more about it at the news segment. But there was an interesting Apple exploit that people were spamming. Yes, Apple iCloud password sharing. If you're using an Apple device at the con and put it in airplane mode, you should put it in airplane mode, because if you accepted an iCloud Apple TV request, you may have leaked Wi-Fi passwords and other sensitive data to someone who's really cool. So, okay, what was happening here? Basically, people were getting pop-ups that were saying, do you want to pair to this Apple TV or something like that? And they're like, cool, yeah, I get to control this Apple TV. It would in fact actually just share your Wi-Fi passwords with them. And it wasn't being very clear what it was really requesting to do. It kind of seemed like it was giving you permission to control it. But in fact, it was actually just getting Wi-Fi credentials from you. So yes, it was definitely something that you should have been maybe a little careful about. Also, we were seeing a lot of casinos having issues. I'm not going to say that this is related, but seeing a bunch of Windows-based slot machines crashing is definitely not a new sight in Las Vegas. The one thing I will say is I am disappointed that nobody got the Sphere. It's just hanging out there. Like nobody was able to get the Sphere. Yeah, so I didn't see the Sphere get hacked. I was really hoping that something would happen with that, but unfortunately it was not done, at least this year. Oh, cool. All right, so somebody in the audience, going by the name of Name, said that they grabbed a Meow Mixer and it was awesome to help people solder theirs at the hardware village. Man, that's so cool. Yeah, we really wanted this to be popular amongst, kids and other people that might just be getting started, or that might not want a really super challenging badge, but do want something that's cool and customizable and lets you play with it. So yeah, I think the Meow Mixers were definitely something that ended up being a bigger success than I anticipated. And I honestly regret not bringing more. I definitely had the PCBs for it. I just didn't bag them because I didn't think as many people would want a cool Blinky badge. But it turns out DEF CON is exactly the space for that. So stay tuned for more of those. We will definitely make more different types of these badges, and then also just bring more of the Meow Mixers next time. Question, was it a walkie-talkie type radio? Yes, it was a Baosong walkie-talkie type radio that everybody was gathering around and listening to the news on. But it was pretty funny. Yeah, seeing all the hackers just ignoring all the official press releases and going straight to the source and finding somebody who was broadcasting in the clear about the incident that knew what was happening was, it was only going to be a matter of time. All right, so follow-up question. I was wondering if it being a phishing portal would make it inherently illegal as opposed to a normal proof of concept or tool. So there's things like Wi-Fi Fisher and other stuff that do phishing attacks that already exist on GitHub and that are used by security researchers for pen testing engagements. I think the thing is just trying to not make it too easily used for cybercrime. So if you make the portals, for example, a little bit goofy, or make it so people have to go through 1 or 2 steps in order to customize it or deploy it in a way that's really believable, I would say like that would be the line for me anyway. Like I've always tried to make tools that are capable of doing, you know, the most interesting things, but also walk them back a tiny bit so that you can still do those things, but you need to modify something or set something or change something. I think Flipper Zero is a pretty good example of how this can work by restricting like certain, you know, bands and whatever, where if you really want to do those things, if you really want to unlock them, if there's something specific you want to do, there's ways of flashing the firmware that's unlocked, or like being able to do things that are normally prohibited in their official firmware. You know, it's not really that hard. So I think Flipper like probably has walked the best line when it comes to having a device that's capable of doing a bunch of illegal things and restricting them in the official firmware that they put out, even though it still is possible to do those things. So that would be my advice, is like maybe just if you see anything that's making you nervous about your code, like something that's so easy that like literally anybody could do it, maybe consider adding an extra step where somebody who's like code literate would be able to modify it with a little bit of extra effort, but somebody who's just looking for a ready to use phishing tool wouldn't be able to use it like right out of the box. I know, for example, like the Wi-Fi Pineapple has several features built into it that are essentially nerfing its ability to be like stealthy or otherwise evade detection. Now, why do they do this? So for example, if you have a Wi-Fi Pineapple and you plug it in and just run it right out of the box, it's going to set off every alert in Kismet. Why is that? Well, for one, the guy who works on Kismet also works on the Wi-Fi Pineapple, so he knows what it looks like. And he's created there are some built-in telltale signs of a pineapple doing pineapple stuff that Kismet will immediately detect. Now, one of those things is any device that has the same consistent MAC address, but is putting out different SSIDs. So it's basically one piece of hardware pretending to be multiple different networks. That will cause an alert in Kismet. Now, the Pineapple could completely spoof different MAC addresses and different devices, like when it's creating these other fake networks, and evade that detection. But why doesn't it? Like, it seems like a pretty obvious thing to do. Well, the reason is to make it a little harder for people to use this thing to attack like enterprise people, like, or large businesses. It makes it so that the tool is detectable out of the box unless you customize stuff. And that's really the point here, is like, if you can make it so that out of the box, it's pretty easy to detect, then you mitigate the harm and make it so people who still really want to use it seriously can just follow a tutorial to unlock its full potential. That would be my answer. All right. Yeah, then maybe put some sort of tampering there. Okay, so one question is, what would you change the Las Vegas sphere to if you had a chance, aside from the obvious? What is the obvious? What is the obvious? That's my question. Discuss in the comments. If I had control over the Las Vegas sphere, it's honestly hard to imagine something weirder than like the eyeball that they put up or whatever else, but probably like an internet meme. I'm gonna be honest, like I know it's not very creative, but if I got first access to the sphere, I would just rickroll it. Like I would try to like make a spherical rickroll video that could be seen from everywhere, and I would just run it as long as basically until they pulled the plug is what I would do. So yeah, that's probably what I would do. If you've got a better idea, or if you know what the obvious is. Was that the obvious that I just said? I mean, it does sound pretty obvious. I think that that's going to be the flag for most people. It's like either that, or I will pop up a giant calculator on the sphere, a giant spherical calculator. That's how you know that I've got it. Somebody else says that you should just display Airmon NG live on the screen. So just show every wireless network in that area of Las Vegas on the screen just running. Oh, and James said max headroom. That's actually a really good one. So the max headroom signal broadcast intrusion is a very famous event in hacker history where somebody brought like hijacked a transmission to show like a super weird video that then just cut out again. And nobody ever caught like the person who did this, which is one of my favorite things. But yeah. It's definitely something that would be funny to see on that big screen. Oh yeah, and James is explaining it. It's one of the pivotal like somebody hacking into live TV moments that you'll find. So a broadcast signal intrusion is like really cool because you could be like a dude with like a little antenna and you run up and stick it to a big receiver or something and then end up overpowering like a really like intense signal further away. So let's say that you have like a broadcasting station and then a receiving station, and then that receiving station like pipes out to customers. There was a while where people would just basically trespass and get up real close to the antenna, or even sometimes stick something directly to the antenna that was receiving, and then play another signal that was stronger than the signal that was supposed to be received, and this would overpower that signal. You can actually test this out on FM radio. So if, for example, you have one of those FM radio transmitters, if you put it on the same frequency that like a car stereo is playing, it will actually overpower the car stereo. I used to, on Uber rides, have a Raspberry Pi program that I could use a pin on the Raspberry Pi to basically broadcast FM radio. And if I plugged in a GPIO pin, it got even better reception. So if I wanted to take over the radio in the Uber, I would like look over the seat, like observe the channel, set my Raspberry Pi radio to that channel too, and then play the music I wanted to listen to. And it would overpower whatever was playing. So broadcast signal intrusions are really cool. The way that they used to happen was not that complicated. And unfortunately, I don't think that's going to work for the Las Vegas Sphere. But maybe we'll find something similar. All right, everybody assumes that max headroom would be awesome. Oh yeah, actually the Defcon logo would be pretty good. That would, I honestly, like, I think that they, even just for marketing purposes, if they were just like, oh, it got hacked, and they just displayed the Defcon logo and whatever, it would have gotten so much news for the stupid Sphere. It just would have been a good PR event. They should have just let it happen. All right, I think that is most of the time we have today. I think we've still got maybe 5 minutes. So if you're just getting here, if you've got questions about Black Hat, DEF CON, what it was like to be a goon at DEF CON, what it was like to work in the vendor area at DEF CON. By the way, sweaty, that's what it was like. There were so many people at the vendor area. The line to get into just buying a Hacker Warehouse item was all the way out the door and like around and down the hall. So it was pretty crazy seeing that many people all packed in such a small space, all frantically buying stuff. And also, I got to be a press liaison, so getting to interact with the press, do a tour of the conference, and get to see all the stuff that was set up and running was really cool. If I had to pick a favorite thing, like a favorite concept at the conference that I saw that's just like wild, it's going to be the soda machine. Does anybody in the chat know about the soda machine? If you do, feel free to shout it out and describe what it is. But the soda machine is basically, it just looks like a soda vending machine. And you can go up and you can put money into it. But it doesn't dispense drinks. It dispenses like a little printed out ticket. Does anybody in the chat know what the soda machine does? No? Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to tell you. So the soda machine is the Shell on demand appliance application, one of those things. It is something that is containing basically inside. It's not keeping drinks cold. It's keeping server racks cold. And it's got a bunch of servers which are able to be provisioned in a number of different, shells on demand. Yeah, there you go. All right, cool. So it is something that is designed to allow you to get a shell and then use it like for a CTF. So the example here would be like you're participating in a CTF. You need like a virtual machine with like Debian or something else. You would be able to go over, press the button, get a printed out like access credentials so that you could SSH into this thing, and boom, you have a shell on demand in whatever operating system that you're looking for. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of it. I think this has been around before. I think it was at last DEF CON. But it was so cool to see this thing working. I really hope that there's a good picture of it. Here it is. Okay, cool. I'm gonna share my screen again. So this was the soda machine. I will post more pictures of it later. But you could select open WRT, sparkling donations, sugar-free BSD, Debian 0, Debian. Oh my God. Dr. Callie. I'm sorry. I didn't see the names of these sodas. they've fully gone wild with these names. But I thought this was by far the most clever application I've seen in a long time. It's really cool to be able to have something that looks like a that looks like a standard thing you would see in a conference space, like actually be like a CTF like hacking tool that lets you get a shell and use it. But yeah, I was very, very pleased by this. I thought it was super cool. We also had the Hackasat competition. Oh my gosh, Moonlighter was the name of the satellite. Let me turn this off while I look it up real quick. So Moonlighter had such good branding, you guys. Like as soon as I walked by it, I was like, this is the coolest like Defcon presentation I've seen. So the Hackasat presentation looks like it was sponsored in part by the US Air Force, which I am not surprised by. Do they have pictures though? No, not really. Okay, well, I'll spare you of that. But yeah, in general, it was an opportunity to hack into a satellite that was actually in orbit. It gave you the ability to like download video from it. And I know that one of my friends who came here was able to, oh, okay, cool. It looks like an Italian team one. I'm gonna share again. Was able to download video from the camera of this satellite. So yeah, very, very cool. See that Air Force is involved, trying to do Hackasat stuff. And then also, yeah, like it just had, it was just very easy to find. And there was a lot of very cool branding. Uncle Sam wants Defcon hackers to pwn the Moonlighter satellite. Yeah, so hacking satellites, super, super cool. It was generally something that I really enjoyed seeing anybody being able to participate in. And the fact that a couple of my friends got to take a whack at the satellite and actually got, information from it was very cool. All right. Where can I join a team of ethical hackers? Generally at your local hackerspace. If you don't have one in your area, you can always travel to a larger city and see if there's a hackerspace or makerspace around. Hackerspaces are much more focused on hacking. So you'll see like usually they'll have a Defcon chapter. Maybe they'll have like a con that they run themselves locally, or they'll organize events, classes. They're generally a hub for being able to find these spaces. And for me, my home hackerspace is Null Space Labs. It's where I'm most comfortable. I've been there for years. I'm a key holder there. And like, it is a place where I can do a lot of great work and always run into interesting people doing interesting stuff. I got to hang out with people from Null Space Labs at Defcon. Kind of gave me like a home crew to work with. So if you are anywhere near a major city that has a hacker space, they are wonderful. If you're in a smaller city, then maker spaces are everywhere. Generally, makers are a little bit less understanding of some of the breaking stuff that we want to do, but they still are a good place to branch out from, and you'll meet a lot of interesting people at maker spaces. These are frequently at everything from community colleges to libraries. So look around and see if you can find people who are interested in that sort of things, because often the best way to meet people who are interested in ethical hacking are finding people who are either teaching classes or taking classes. So yeah, like networking through a community hub, like a library, a community college, or a school, like a state school, are always good ways of finding other people who are interested. But if you have a hackerspace, they're really great. Let's see. I wonder if you can make a vending machine that provides on-demand distributed denial of service attacks. Dr. Fisher, Coca-Cola. Yeah, you could do that. You could definitely do that. And the funny thing would be that someone would have to physically find this vending machine and destroy it in order to stop the attack from happening. So that would be pretty funny. All right, so that is just about all the time that we have today. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor for Varonis for sending me to both of these conferences. I got to check out Black Hat, participate in the super fun CTF, and also, get this cool shirt. And also I got to go to Defcon and both serve the community there as a goon and run our community game. So thank you very much to everybody at Varonis who made that possible. I got to meet a bunch of our spooky and cool security researchers also, and they were awesome. So we definitely will be going to next year's Defcon as well as Black Hat. So if you want to support the stream, you can always go to varonis.com/Kody. That's KODY. They do check to see how many people follow that link, and it will lead you to some of our latest content. And if you want to participate in the Verona CTF, you can go back to the beginning of this video and see me playing it live, getting the first flag, and you can go to veronas.com/CTF if you want to play yourself. We will see you next time. If you've got any questions that haven't been answered, you can always go to our Discord server and ask them there. I will hopefully post a link in the chat. I apologize because our nugget.lol shortened link that we were using before is still restricted. Somebody reported it as spam, and it takes forever to fix. So I'm going to drop our new Discord server link in the chat, and feel free to jump on there, leave your questions, and we will make sure to get them answered on the next show. I will also answer any that are on the YouTube channel. So we will see you next on Friday for our live hacking stream where we're talking about all the news of the week. And I'm really trying to get Make It Hacken to come on the show because he made a lot of really cool Defcon add-on badges this year, and I think would have a lot to say about making hardware and what it's like to attend these cons and make educational content. So hopefully we will see him on soon. All right, everyone, I will see you on Friday. Thank you to everybody who came by and said hello to me at the booth. And yeah, talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.